I trust you're doing well. You're watching RwandaTV News live from Kigali. I'm Ethan Tashabia. President Paul Kagame has paid tribute to the President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Dr. John Pombe Joseph Magufuli, following his untimely death, which was announced on Wednesday night. President Kagame has declared a period of national mourning in Rwanda, and it is to last until the funeral of the late Tanzanian leader. Jen Mutoni kicks off tonight's edition with this report.
Is a disease.
The late President of the United Republic of Tanzania, His Excellency Dr. John Pombe Joseph Magufuli, passed away on Wednesday, March 18, 2021, at the age of 61 due to heart complications at a hospital called Emilio Mzena in Dar es Salaam, as it was announced by the country's Vice President Samia Suluhu Hassan in an address on state television. President Paul Kagame expressed his deepest condolences through Twitter as he stated,
"We're saddened by the loss of my brother and friend, President Magufuli. His contribution to his country and to our region will not be forgotten. My deepest condolences to his family and the people of Tanzania. The people of Rwanda stand with Tanzania during this difficult time."
On March 18, 2021, earlier today, President Paul Kagame declared a period of national mourning during which the national flag and the flag of East African Community will fly at half-mast on all Rwandan territories, including diplomatic missions abroad, and this will go on until the burial of the late President Joseph Magufuli. Some of the citizens of Tanzania that work as truck drivers of goods imported from Tanzania to Rwanda say they were devastated after receiving the news.
We're mourning for our president. He was a hero. Only God will get us through this period. His passing will not only be felt by Tanzanians, but also the whole of Africa. We shall always remember President Magufuli for his integrity in leadership. He cared for the poor. He brought about rapid development and high progression. We just lost a good and hard-working leader.
The head of Rwanda-Tanzania Friendship Association, Musemakweli John, says the late President Magufuli has left a huge legacy for all Tanzanians to always remember.
He made a lot of progress in terms of social affairs to his people. He was a man of the rural people, the common people, the common men, and he did a lot for them. He constructed a lot of schools. He equipped the schools. He constructed a lot of health centers and hospitals. He equipped them. And actually what he was trying to do is was trying to uplift the health of his Tanzanian people and make sure that they are living very well. So in terms of legacy, he left a very good legacy. A legacy of accountability, a legacy of people being committed, patriotism, and I think he will be remembered for all those things. And he even said that when I die, you will remember me on the good things that I have done. These are the moments that are very difficult for the nation. These are moments that are not easy to handle for the nation. These are moments of sorrow for the family, for Tanzanians, and I hope God will help them. They will go through it.
According to the Constitution of Tanzania, Ms. Samia Suluhu Hassan will be sworn in as the new president and serve the remainder of the late president's 5-year term, which he had begun last year in 2020. After being sworn in, she will hold discussions with her political party, Chama cha Mapinduzi, on the matter of selecting vice president. Jane Mutoni reporting for RwandaTV.
Now, we'll be able to cross over to Tanzania if the network allows us, but let's continue with what we have this evening. According to the National Institute of Statistics of Rwanda, in 2020, the GDP decreased by 3.4% compared to 2019. Through 2020, in the first quarter of Rwanda's GDP grew by 3.7%, and there was a significant drop of negative 12.4% in the second quarter. Then, 3.6% in the third quarter, while the country registered 0.6% decrease in the fourth quarter. Now, this reflects the ongoing public health catastrophes of COVID-19, according to the National Institute of Statistics. In 2020, agriculture sector increased by 1% and contributed 0.2% at points to the overall GDP drop. Activities in the industry sector decreased by 4% and negatively contributed to 0.8 percentage points to the GDP drop. Service sector decreased by 6% and negatively contributed 2.6 percentage points to the GDP drop. The most affected sector by COVID-19 are hotels and restaurants, which registered negative 40% decline. Education registered negative 28%. Transport registered negative 12%. However, information and communication technologies and health sectors grew by 29% and 16% respectively. Moving on, the High Court Chamber for International and Cross-Border Crimes was scheduled to virtually read a case against Mujimba Jean-Baptiste, who was sent by the Netherlands authorities to Rwanda to stand trial of the charges relating to his role in the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi and crimes against humanity. However, the court found that there was a need to first access further evidence implicating Mujimba from the Nyakabanda Gacaca court in Kigali and ordered that the hearing be held once the information was available and that the parties come to comment on it, while with a reopening of the case scheduled for the 10th of May 2021. Jean-Baptiste Mujimba, who was the Secretary General of the extremist political outfit SEDEL, was extradited to Rwanda from the Netherlands in 2016, is also accused of at least 4 crimes, including genocide, conspiracy to commit genocide, inciting people to commit genocide. He is specifically linked to a group of Interahamwe militiamen whose members called themselves the Zulus. According to the prosecution, Mujimba presided over a SEDEL rally at Nyamirambo Stadium in Kigali, where it was declared that Tutsis were the enemy and could not belong to the party. The Ellen DeGeneres, a renowned American television talk show host and comedian, is building a research center for the conservation of the biodiversity network, especially gorillas in the Volcanoes National Park. If all goes to plan, the facility, which will cost more than 13 billion Rwandan francs, will be officially launched in September 2021. Our very own Jed Umwali has this report.
Located near the volcanoes of Sabinyonyi, Gahinga, and Muhabura, the Ellen DeGeneres campus of the Dian Fossey Gorilla Fund is under construction. Construction is 50% complete. The construction of this campus will aid in the development and further research of the Dian Fossey Gorilla Fund. The buildings are being built with high-tech architecture. Uwayezu Theophile, one of the architects of the center, walks us through each building, explaining the key activities that will take place there.
This project consists of more than 3 parts, including a conservation gallery. It will feature Dian Fossey's previous works and the continued works through the park. There will also be a research center with a laboratory dedicated to learning more about the gorillas and any problems they may come across. We will also have an education center where people can learn about the different ways they may contribute to conserving and protecting the gorillas. It will be equipped with a computer lab and library.
The Dian Fossey Gorilla Fund did not have a private building. They were renting a small space to continue with the day-to-day activities related to biodiversity care. Dajijimana Felix is an employee of the fund.
Where we used to work and teach students from the University of Rwanda was a small area. We did not even have the proper equipment. But when this campus is completed, we will have a school to teach at, a computer lab, and a library. We did not have that and would use a small house to do all this. Having this campus will help us reach our purpose. Our purpose is to ensure the continuation of our work as well as Dian Fossey's contribution, and for one to see the continued conservation in our country. We also hope it piques the curiosity of Rwandans to visit and see what this campus is about, seeing as they will not be charged for the tours.
Taking care of the biodiversity network and researching the mountain gorillas is a legacy left by Dian Fossey. Rwandans call her Nyiramachibiri. Dadjimana Felix says Dian Fossey took great care of the gorillas, that he too grew to care and preserve the legacy left behind.
Ellen DeGeneres is a person that loves life. She grew up to love the work of Diani Fossey and Diani Fossey herself. The Diani Fossey Gorilla Fund was one of the first institutions to be received by the Ellen Fund. It is what helped us start building this project.
Day to day, come sunshine or rain, work is in full swing. Employees are working diligently to ensure the completion of the buildings by September 2021. Workers say that in addition to appreciating the work towards development that they have been given, this project has also helped them understand the importance of promoting and protecting the environment, especially the gorillas. We have a women's group with at least 50 members. We collect money that helps all of us in different ways. With that money, we have been able to finance ourselves, and I have been able to buy myself a place. The project, which started in January 2020, is expected to be operational by the end of this year. More than 680 people are currently employed, and the full-fledged center is expected to provide employment to about 1,500 people. The project is valued at more than $13 million. Umngari Jade, RTV News.
Thank you, Mwai. Now, let's take you back to the events in Tanzania, where the country is mourning the death of their President John Magufuli. I'm joined on Skype by Abdusamad Abdrahim, a Tanzanian entrepreneur, diplomat, but who is also the founder and chairperson of Tanzania Oil Gas Association. Many thanks for you finding time to speak to us, Mr. Abdusamad Abdrahim.
A very good evening.
Very good evening indeed. And I hope you are staying strong and the entire Tanzania is actually going strong through this difficult time. But give us the situation, the mood currently. How is the mood where you're best right now?
The mood in Tanzania is a cloud. It's very dark. And obviously when you have the champion of Pan-African passing away, that has a huge vacuum in Africa. So everyone is in deep mourning. When you walk on the streets, everybody is crying. When you walk into the bus stations, I mean, everything has gone standstill, remembering the life of His Excellency President John Pombe Magufuli.
This is something.
It's very deep to take, yeah. I have to say.
Oh, we've heard in the media that he was sick for some time, and is that something that had already, that people saw coming in Tanzania?
We do have international, regional, and the various authorities from part of Africa who are already descending into Tanzania ahead of the funeral, which will be very soon.
Okay, so let's talk about, he will be remembered. Most leaders have said that Magufuli will be remembered as a Pan-African, but what is his legacy in Tanzania? What will he be remembered as, among the Tanzanians, where he was the president, of course?
Well, he was the president who was completely different to any other president in Tanzania. One was he was the really a fighter of poor people, low-income people, and changed the lives of the people from the street, basically, especially the vendors, and we call them mamantilie and so forth. So they were completely given a freedom of doing business without any interference. So that has enabled what we call the petty traders to actually be able to do the business. But the most fundamental difference with this president is that he has done something that no other president were able to do, to revamp the Air Tanzania, which has been making a lot of profit in the country, but also equally there has been a high degree of discipline both from the people, the government, and the civil servant. And this is something that will always be remembered. When you touch on the issue of the economy, President Magufuli has transformed and revolutionized of Tanzania from where we are to becoming a middle income status as of last year. So these are among the issues and among the things that we will deeply remember President Magufuli. In addition to that, he has brought order in our mining sector, where it was controlled by various people in the past. So the mining industry is now one of the most prosperous, more regulated industry in Tanzania. And then when you look at his legacy, which will always be remembered around the world, which was the Julius Nyerere hydropower dam for 2,100, that really made this president to be a unique president, decisive and visionary, to build something that of that magnitude. It defied the whole odds around the world, where people thought he would not be able to make it, he wouldn't do it, and here we are today. So he will be remembered by many people, not just Tanzanians and African, but people who really believe his vision has really transformed everybody else's in the world. The way the government are running, fighting corruption has also been among the issues that President Magufuli has been able to eradicate.
So his death shockingly surprised all of us, especially outsiders. But there are reports that he was sick. Do you think people in Tanzania saw his death coming?
Sorry, could you repeat again? The line was not...
I was saying that we're all surprised about his death. We did not see it coming. I mean the outsiders. But do you think the reports that we've seen in the recent past about his health, sort of prepared people that, he wasn't in a very good health and then anything could happen?
Well, I have to admit that this came as a big surprise. The president was doing his daily duties. The president was performing his task until this happened. So it really took us by surprise to hear that the president was not to be seen. And we were used to see the president moving around, talking to the people, engaging in following up the project and so forth. So for everybody around the world, including us here locally, we noticed there was a degree of absence. But we were assured that, of course, His Excellency is still he was in charge.
Yes.
But unfortunately, like any other human being, the time came. God loved him more than us, and God.
May his soul rest in peace.
Amen. Amen. Yeah.
My brother Abdul Samad Ibrahim, many thanks for your time indeed, and we condole with the rest of Tanzanians. We send our strength and prayers to all of you.
We stand united, and may God rest him in peace. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much indeed. Now, moving on, a dispute has erupted between 1,000 farmers in Gasabo district and an investor who was leased the Kami marshland in Chinya sector by the government. Government officials, meanwhile, say both sides really have no rights over the land because it belongs to the state anyway. Sejanori has more.
The farmers are part of the Kwabiga cooperative, and the dispute has come to blows between the farmers and the employees of the investor lady, with a number of people being hospitalized and criminal cases being filed at the Rwanda Investigation Bureau. People were planting whatever they wanted, sweet potatoes and so on. The president of Kwabiga helped us to organize ourselves, and the problems we are now facing arose because of those two people who failed to properly cultivate their plots, and so they were kicked out. Eventually, the authorities were drawn in because the marshland was being wasted. She harvested our maize, taking crops from my 5 hectares and 15 hectares from Mama Messi. She then went to Tantine's plot and had workers uproot her beans and then plant her own that still have not grown yet. The investor lady in question says it is the cooperative stealing from her farm.
The marshland was leased to me by Kigali City's committee almost 4 years ago, and I agreed with the farmers that I would use the land they don't need. Every time we reach a settlement with the farmers themselves, the president of Kwabiga steps in and rallies them up again to start trouble and fights, and now we have many dossiers at the Rwanda Investigation Bureau. Kwabiga has no land and is just trying to grab it. All of these problems are being caused by 5 or so people, and we are asking the authorities to help us with this.
Local authorities say they have asked their superiors to intervene. The authorities in charge are helping us so that those with the proper authorization get the papers proving it, and these disputes stop as soon as possible. The Ministries of Environment and Agriculture are now involved. So is the Rwanda Cooperatives Agency, as well as District and Kigali City authorities. We believe a solution is soon forthcoming. Top government authorities, meanwhile, have pointed out that as long as no official reply has been given as to who can farm in the marshland, neither side has a right over it.
Both sides are fighting over property that does not belong to them. That marshland belongs to the state, and they should not be fighting for it. It does not belong to a cooperative, neither does it belong to that investor lady. If anything, they could find themselves accused of claiming land that belongs to the government. Regardless, we are going to resolve this because no local issue is too much for us.
The Kami marshland sits on 40 hectares and appears to be in disarray, with different crops grown on it with no apparent order to it, a clear sign that indeed the people working it are in disagreement over how it should be used.
Thank you, Serge, for that report. Now, more than 27 residents of the area along Tiazo Kabuga Road in Nyamasheke district, where the land is being cleared for road construction, are blaming contractors for causing landslides that destroy their crops. They want compensation for their destroyed property. The mayor of Nyamasheke district says the issue will be solved amicably. Innocent Mugabo has this report.
It is in Chibogora Cell in Rwanyanje village, where there is a site that is used as a soil collection point after removing it from the construction site of the Tiazo, Chibogora, Kabuga Road. The soil created a hill nearby, and in the rainy season, it is popular that it descends into people's fields due to machines that constantly press and scatter the soil. Here the people complain over their destroyed property. All our food crops and ponds were destroyed. Now water is close to destroying my house, and this is due to the trucks that keep scattering the soil.
All our fields and plots are being destroyed.
The dumping site is in the government land, and residents neighboring the dump site are asking for compensation. All my garden was covered with soil, losing all the beans and carrots I had planted.
We ask that the government compensates us.
I ask that they compensate me and I go find somewhere else I can buy. Nyamasheke District Mayor Mukama Sabo Apoloni says that they are to hold talks with the Rwanda Transport Development Agency RTDA immediately to see how the destroyed property of residents is to be compensated.
The dump site induces mudslides whenever it rains, hence destroying people's crops. We know about the matter and we are currently working with RTDA and our colleagues of the One Stop Center. who are currently on site to register all the destroyed property for these victims to be compensated. It will be done as soon as possible since we are in the rainy season. The assessment we made showed us that their houses haven't been affected, but we are to keep assessing to ensure that those at risk are also relocated.
27 residents are reported to be affected by the dumping site, but the damaged area is not listed yet. Damaged crops are dominated by beans, soya beans, and bananas. Residents say that the site also existed during the construction of the Kivu Belt Road, but it is only these days that the soil here created a hill, causing landslides that destroy people's crops. Innocent Mugabo, RTV News.
That's all we had for you tonight. On behalf of the entire news production team, many thanks for your company tonight. Stay well and safe. I'm Ethan Tashabia. Bye for now.